Yeah. All right. Yeah, so hello. I am so happy to be joining all of you fantastic, lovely, wonderful people on Instagram Live. My name is Erin. Thank you for joining in. I guide women to become a wilder, more intuitively aligned version of themselves. And starting with that first step, which is self-awareness. So today I'm hosting this live on behalf of Kween Wellness. Kween is an online lifestyle education, hey Dolores, education platform focused on rewilding women so that they can live healthier through nutrition, movement, and mindfulness. And through these podcasts, I'm hoping to inspire insights for a more conscious world, helping women run just as authentically as they do efficiently. Yeah, so drop a little wave, whoever has just dropped in. Put a little wave into the comments. I'm here with Dr. Suki Hon. So I love seeing all of your Instagram names pop up, say hello, have a wave. Hey, Restia. And for those of you who couldn't make the Instagram Live, just know that we are feeling your energy right now and would be happy to send the replay along for you in the next couple days, hopefully tomorrow. And if I don't have your email, please drop me a line, drop me a DM, and then hopefully I can send you this replay. So today I want to bring a very special guest and a very dear friend into the spotlight to help you get a hold of all of the stress that we're having. And right now, I think it's quite a lot of stress. So basically, we want to bring awareness to emotional freedom technique today and how we can actually use that technique to give ourselves a permission to pause. So I'm here with Dr. Suki Hon, the EFT queen. Hi, Suki.
Hello, hello.
Hi, thank you for joining us.
Yes, of course.
Dr. Suki is a licensed naturopathic doctor here in Ontario. We are both in the same city, both in Toronto right now. And Suki helps modern women find sustainable health solutions, empowering them to take control of their own wellness through conscious and intentional living. And just quickly before I let Dr. Suki kind of take the reins, I do want to say a little word on a kind of an outline that we have established today. So today I'll first get Dr. Suki to talk a little bit about a general overview of stress, although I'm sure not a lot of people need an overview of stress because we all know what it is. And then we're going to actually have some demonstrations. Dr. Suki is going to do an emotional freedom technique, or EFT, or you might have heard it just called tapping, demo, and also incorporate 2 breathing techniques that she really likes and that I am certainly willing to back up. So we'll do some demos for those. And then stay tuned till the very end. She has a beautiful and totally free EFT guide that she is giving away right now. So be sure to stay tuned to the end to grab that. If I don't have your email already, like I said, please just send me a quick DM and I can get you that free guide, okay? So, and we'll also have a little bit of time at the end for questions, hopefully leaving some time. So please jot them down, grab a notepad, grab your thinking cap, and take it away, Dr. Suki.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Erin, so much for having me on your platform. It is wonderful to be present with you all, even though I cannot physically see your face, but that is okay. Yeah. Before I get into the nitty gritty, I would actually love to hear from you. If you can leave a comment down below, whether you have learned anything new about yourself during the pandemic, whether this is personal or your health, I would love to learn more about it just because, you know, like we want to lead a more intentional life. So kind of reflecting on that is always a good thing. So kind of going into the talk itself, as Erin has mentioned, everyone kind of knows what stress is already. It is definitely no stranger to any of us because we have experienced it one way or another. So with
Preach, girl, preach.
So with our modern living and lifestyle, we're actually constantly being exposed to different stimuli that actually stresses our bodies. So whether we feel it physically or mentally, that's a different story. So as you may know, our stress response is our fight or flight response. So meaning that this was actually key back in the day when we are trying to run away from tigers, or, you know, like preventing any encounters with a black bear from afar. So this response system kicks in so we can survive. But today, it is actually a maladaptation, meaning that this response doesn't actually need to function in the same capacity that we needed it to back when we're running away from lions and tigers. So this actually becomes problematic. This leads to a lot of things like chronic stress. So we go from simply feeling amped up and anxious and ready to run a marathon. We're now getting into symptoms such as low energy, headaches, insomnia, mood changes, digestive issues, and just like a whole slew of things, just because we're being bombarded by all these stressors from our day-to-day living.
Yes.
So,
hands up if anyone has ever experienced any of those things. Low energy.
Me,
Okay.
especially in school. So anyway, this is when we want to incorporate a little bit of conscious awareness into our bodies. So the next time you feel stressed in any way, I would love for you all to take a moment and just reflect. Ask yourself, how are you feeling physically and mentally? And try to see if you can identify the cause of that stressor, or, you know, like what happened that might have contributed to this manifestation of this stress response. So as an advocate of conscious living, I strive to live more intentionally and purposefully, even though it's not always perfect, and that is totally okay. What this means is that we have identified our core values and beliefs, and we actively and not passively make decisions and live our lives in a way that aligns with these values. So I'll give you an example. One of my values is to live sustainably, and in an environmental perspective, I want to make decisions that will reduce, say, the plastic waste that I generate. So if one day I forget to bring my travel mug, and I wanted to grab a cup of coffee on my way to work, I will consciously make that decision to not grab that coffee and maybe wait till for the next day to do so, just so I can reduce that waste.
I feel like this is a great topic, and I'm glad that you brought it up, because yes, for everyone out there listening, Dr. Suki actually really advocates herself and markets herself as a conscious living kind of healthpreneur, you know, someone who's really into like teaching about consciousness, and to me that's really mindfulness. You know, the more self-aware you are, the more mindful you are, the more you're able to step back and to make those decisions. Case in point, oh, I forgot my tumbler today, so I'm actually not even going to have a coffee today. Now that's a huge choice. I know a lot of people that are really into their coffee. So, you know, that is something that goes above and beyond the kind of routine, kind of everyday things that we can often get really bombarded with, and just choose to kind of go along with the flow, right? Can you speak to that in any sense of the term, kind of like out of the flow, or like more so really intentionally making decisions to be healthier, or even for the world to be healthier?
Yeah. So I think one thing I do want to mention, say like my choice to not grab that coffee. If you do decide to grab that coffee, that is okay. If you need it to function, that is okay. You know, like
Okay.
to live consciously and intentionally is just to kind of like have that purpose and have that intentions, like, okay, like let me reflect, do I really need this right now? If I do, then it is okay. If you find that you don't actually, then it's like, okay, you're making that choice, you're making that decision to choose not to have that coffee. So whatever your decision is, like, I'm not here to judge. You know, again, like to your point, it's just more about practicing mindfulness and really truly deciding on the reason behind what you're doing instead of like giving in to the impulses that we're so familiar with, like with the sales and, you know, like, oh, buy 2 get 1 free, I'll grab 3 when you realistically need 1. So yeah.
Yeah, that speaks to, I think, a much larger pandemic, perhaps, if that's the right word, that we're all in, that we all kind of fall victim to, you know, that capitalistic mindset of, oh, I'm going to go out, so I'm already out, so I might as well buy coffee, or I'm already out, so I might as well, you know, stop into my favorite bakery and grab this, or get dinner for tonight, or not even those functional things, but more so like, yeah, I'm gonna buy a $100 purse for myself because I want it. You know, it's so like it's on impulse, and it becomes routine. It becomes we don't even know it half the time. You know, we're really just in it, and that there's something to be said for someone that really I think is a role model for making those conscious decisions. And it was the first time that I had heard about this, was actually another naturopath, but she was teaching about, you know, people eating bread, people with celiac disease eating bread, and you know, she's like, I don't care if you eat bread, that's not my fault, like that's your own decision. But you can make the choice, you can make a conscious choice whether or not you want to eat bread or not, you know, or whether you're lactose intolerant, but you know, maybe you want an ice cream, and that's okay, but just go ahead with the knowing that you may have to suffer some sort of consequence.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like, you know, like whatever your decision is, you're accepting what is going to come. So with lactose intolerance and milk, like, you know, you're going to have gas and bloating and possibly diarrhea. You know, like if you choose to do that, then, you know, like it's kind of like you already know what's to come. Anywho, so kind of getting back to tying in conscious living and to our topic today. So through conscious and intentional living, we start to realize that, you know, like all the ideas that have been instilled in us are actually untrue. So things like, oh, we have to be productive, or, you know, like to keep ourselves busy, like those are the things that makes us successful, or the sense of urgency that we're also familiar with, because we think that if we don't do something immediately, something bad will happen. So again, through conscious living, we start to realize that this is simply not the case. You know, like it is okay to take your time. It is okay to give yourself a rest. It is simply okay to give yourself permission to pause. Which is the topic of today.
That is beautiful, so beautifully worded, Dr. Suki. That is amazing.
Thank you.
And thank you for just sharing that insight, just then and there. You know, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Take time to stop and smell the roses. So yeah, what are some of these incredible techniques that we can employ, you know, when we're under that, like in that routine and not knowing that we're even in it, that we're just being shifted, that our emotions are being disturbed without us knowing? How can we kind of lower that stress response?
Yeah, so the 2 techniques that I will be sharing with you all today is great because it can be incorporated very easily. It doesn't include any like additional gadgets, you know, like it doesn't take too much time. It can be done anywhere. So, you know, it's it's kind of what's sustainable for a lot of people. There really isn't an excuse for you to say like, oh, I don't have time. Oh, I don't own X, so I can't do this. So that's why I wanted to share these techniques with everyone today. So the 2 techniques are deep breathing techniques. I feel like I'm saying techniques a lot, but deep breathing or breath work, and EFT, which is emotional freedom technique or facial tapping, whichever term you want to use. They're the same thing, but EFT just sounds fancy. It's like, oh, what is that? So
there's that acronym mystery.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, so fancy. Yeah, let's practice some EFT. Yeah, so let's talk about breath work first. So our stress response or fight or flight response, aka sympathetic nervous system, again, a lot of terms, controls our unconscious bodily functions. So this includes like our heart rate, our blood pressure, our breathing rates, and the release of things like adrenaline and cortisol to help you run away from this lion, or I guess modern day hypothetical lion. So when we practice breath work, we're actually focusing our awareness on our inhales and exhales. So again, ties into intention, ties into the consciousness. So by focusing in on our inhales and exhales, we are actually activating our parasympathetic nervous system, which is kind of like the flip side, or the rest and digest state of our bodies. And by practicing breath work, we're actually able to reverse the stress response to calm our bodies back down. So with breathing techniques, there are many, many different ways you can do so. But today I will be talking about 2 of my favorites. Pick your poison. Like, it doesn't really matter which technique you choose, but just the act of doing breath work is beneficial for a lot of people.
And having options are good.
Yeah, exactly. So hypothetical lion, yes. Yes, we are encountering many hypothetical lions nowadays with 2020.
Too many.
I don't even know if they're lions anymore. They're like...
Yeah, maybe what are some stresses? I'm curious to know what the people who are tuning in, some stresses that you folks have, that are like, you know, maybe the little ones, like just text message notifications, etc., or maybe like big work stresses or anything.
Yeah.
Feel free to write those down so we can get a better understanding of the stresses. And then when you're in those, like, actually use that as a cue. It's like, oh, I'm stressed at work. Okay, I have this breathing technique. Okay, now I'm going to do it.
Exactly.
So yeah, what I'm curious to know, Dr. Suki, what's some of these breathing techniques?
Yeah, so the first one I will be talking about is considered like the 2-to-1 breathing technique. So what this means is that our exhales are twice as long as your inhale. And then the second one is the boxed breathing technique, which involves kind of like 4 stages, hence the box. So here you will be, exactly, here you will be kind of like inhaling for 4 seconds, holding for 4 seconds, exhaling for 4 seconds, and inhaling for 4, and holding for 4 seconds. So I thought this technique was quite interesting because I learned that this was done in the military for snipers to kind of like calm their systems down before taking their shot. So I thought that was interesting to know. Not encouraging people to go around sniping people, but you know, it is a calming technique.
Better act in anything.
Exactly.
Amazing. Okay, so let's do it. Why not? Let's just do a few rounds, see how people feel afterwards.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
So before we actually do the demonstration, I do want to kind of differentiate chest breathing and belly breathing. So with breath work, we usually encourage belly breathing. And I know it's really hard to see here because the Instagram cuts off, but if you were to put your hand on your chest and on your belly and take your inhales, you should feel certain areas of your body rising. So chest inhales, you will feel your chest rising. Belly inhales, you will feel your belly rising. So this may take a couple of practices for people, but once you get it, it does get easier and easier. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of like a side note.
Yes, I'm really glad that you brought that up. I talk about this in my book too, the different like types of breathers. And I have this like hypothesis that we're all struggling with millennial apnea right now, which is basically chest breathing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so for the folks out there listening, it's the goal to actually do more belly breathing and less chest breathing. And maybe Dr. Suki can say why that is.
Yeah, it just like, it actually activates your calming system way more when you breathe through your belly. That's kind of like the short answer for that. And that's why we want to incorporate that with breath work, because the purpose of doing breath work is to calm your system down. So to incorporate the two, it's like a double whammy. You just calming. Yeah, so let's get into the demonstration for the breath work. I will be doing the counts. They're super easy to do, so you can kind of just follow the prompts that way. So before we get started, I want everyone to just sit in a comfortable position, uncross your legs, have your feet on the ground, and have your arms relaxed either by your side or on your lap, on your knees, whatever is comfortable for you. So from here, just kind of like straighten up your back as well to open up some of the airways. And here I would love for you to take an inhale of say like 4 seconds or 3 seconds, depending on your lung capacity. So inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that is the 2-2-1 breathing, where we inhaled for 4 seconds and exhaled for 8, because that is the ratio of 2-1. Again, adjust this to whatever is comfortable for you. If that is too difficult, you can do 3 seconds in, 6 seconds out, whatever is comfortable for you. I don't want anyone passing out from not being able to breathe properly. So it's, yeah.
Of course, yeah. I found even when I was just learning this technique to go for 1 breath and then 2 exhale, like 2 seconds on the exhale, and then you naturally become more able to breathe or at least exhale for a lot longer. So it's good to like big inhale and then exhale just for double the time.
Exactly. So it's as simple as that. So you can do this daily, literally whenever you just feel like, okay, I need a tiny break. Do that for like 2 to 3 breaths. It really does not take long.
Yeah, and it's very discreet too. You can do it on the subway, you can do it in your car at a traffic light, you can do it in the grocery store lineup. You know, you can do it so many places. Walking your dog, even if you're having a bad day. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. I
love
it. Thank you.
No one knows. No one knows. So the next one which is the box breathing. So just a reminder, it's 4 seconds in, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4, kind of like the box. You can imagine it in your head as well while we're doing this to make it a little easier. So let's practice that. Okay, so again, returning back to your comfortable position, inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, hold 1, 2, 3, 4, exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, hold 1, 2, 3, 4. I love your little boxed demonstration.
I have to visualize it. I have to.
Yeah, so again, super easy to do. Do it for as long as you'd like, but it is, again, very easy to incorporate into your modern daily living.
Yeah, the box breathing is one that it was actually probably one of the first ones that I learned back like a long time ago, a couple years ago. And I find very useful just as a visual guide to someone who's not used to any sort of breathing techniques. You know, just try it 5 to 10 times. And it doesn't even have to be that long, but obviously the more breaths you do, to a certain point anyway, you get to kind of like this super calm state, and you realize that you can, like Dr. Suki said, really intentionally start to relax.
I like that.
I love that. I love that breathing technique. Thank you for bringing those in, because I teach mindfulness and I rarely even talk about breathing on Instagram. So it's good.
That's why we're partnering right now, you know?
Yes, I love it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so the second half of the workshop is the facial tapping. So this was definitely the more advertised one, and also might be the slightly less known one, just because it's just less known, I guess. I'm not sure why, but I actually first heard of it,
I think maybe
during our program. Our naturopathic program. Before that, I was like, what is facial tapping? I don't know what it is. So kind of just a little background information with that. So EFT is actually based off of traditional Chinese medicine, where we work with different meridians and channels in our bodies. So with traditional Chinese medicine, we believe that in order for the body to be harmonized and balanced and functioning properly, our meridians must flow smoothly for the energy to pass smoothly. So with EFT, we're actually tapping different areas of the body, mainly the face, to promote stimulation and help remove any blockages that might be blocking these channels. And that's kind of the basis behind EFT. And it also just feels very relaxing, and it draws your attention to particular areas of the body, which again helps with being more present in your day-to-day living. So
it's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I love it.
So what would EFT or tapping be used for? You know, for the everyday person, or is it better for specific people, or how about that?
Yeah, so I find that EFT can be beneficial for everyone, but research has been shown that this technique helps with individuals with anxiety, depression, and even PTSD. So in general, why this technique is beneficial for everyone is that it's grounding, it's stress relieving, you know, and it helps you become present, as I mentioned. And those things are quite important for our mental well-being, especially because we're always bombarded with all these stressors and stimuli. So it's less discreet compared to deep breathing, but it is a more hands-on technique. I know some people do like more of a hands-on approach. I am one of those people. So kind of incorporating that into my lifestyle, although I don't do it daily. I know. It's like definitely one of my favorite relaxing techniques for sure. So
amazing. And is EFT something that you prescribe often to
people? I do. It is one of my main recommendations for stress relief.
Yeah, so easy. And
again,
people
exactly.
will see
it's easy and it's free.
Do the demo. Yeah,
people love that. Like, free, okay, cool. You know, I don't have an excuse not to do it.
Yes. So I'm curious, and I probably a lot of other people are too. Let's do it. Let's try it out, see what happens, you know, and I've seen it done in a lot of different ways. And I'm not sure if you do kind of this process, but I've seen it done once where somebody asked me, like, out of 10, how are you feeling? And then like 30 seconds later, after we did the tapping, she was like, okay, out of 10, how are you feeling? And it was like several points higher, like 5 points higher.
Yeah.
I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So before we actually do the demonstration, I do want to talk about the techniques and the locations first, just so we know exactly what we're doing, okay? So with facial tapping, we're basically using our finger pads on both sides, and this is what we're tapping with. So we're tapping with a decent pressure, obviously not to the point of pain, but a decent pressure, okay? And there are, exactly, good demonstration. Try that on yourself. Once you kind of got the hang of that, we can go over the different locations. There are plenty, so that's why I have the free guide for you all. So there's a, which areas to tap, because I obviously don't expect everyone to memorize that. I don't have it memorized, so I have it in my little notes beside me. So the locations include the pinky side of your hand right here. Okay, and for this, instead of tapping, we're actually going to karate chop ourselves. I know it sounds weird, but
Ooh, nice.
it's just a little easier. Instead of like breaking it down, we're just going to karate chop there. Okay, the second, it's the top of your head, like this. So we'll be tapping like this. Okay, then we'll move on to the inner eyebrows, our temples, under the eyes, kind of like where your cheekbones are, under the nose, on your chin, under the collarbone, and I might have to readjust, and then under the armpits, kind of like along the ribs here. So like around here. Okay, so here there are two ways to do it. You can kind of do it like gorilla style, where you do it, I know it's really awkward for me to show you right now, or you can cross your arms and do it that way. I find this way a little easier, but if you find that like crossing your arms is too closing for you mentally and spiritually, do it this way. Okay?
I like it as a little hug,
yeah,
but I get where you're coming from.
So depending on like how you're feeling at that moment, do what's right for you. And to answer your question, Dolores, it doesn't really matter, but I do find that 3 kind of gives you like a good impact. 2 might, like if it's here, it should be fine. But 3, it just kind of covers a little bit of a wider area. 1 finger is definitely too little. And then 4 might, I mean, 4 still works. It doesn't matter as much. Mainly it's the location and just the stimulation through the tapping. Ooh, just flung my headphones. Okay, so that's kind of the flow of EFT. And from here, you can actually work up to different levels of EFT. So first you can focus on the physical tapping, as we just did. Next, we can incorporate things like deep breathing. So you can do the 2-to-1 or any breathing technique you would like. And then the last and most advanced step is actually incorporating a mantra or a statement along with the tapping and the breathing. So it kind of just like compiles. And the mantra or statement is, even though I am feeling blank, so whatever your emotion that you're feeling, I love and accept myself. Okay, so exactly. Thank you for the visual cue.
I love it.
Yeah. Sometimes
I actually love this one. It's like unreal. Like sometimes I do it and I just start crying out of nowhere.
Yeah. And honestly, we just need that release a lot of the times. Yeah. And you know, like I know personally growing up, like crying was always like a bad thing. Like you shouldn't cry. But now I'm just like crying all the time, and I'm like, that's okay. I needed it. And I set aside like half an hour. It's like, okay, let me just cry for a bit. Yeah, like, and especially since we're always so stressed all the time, we just crying decreases stress, it decreases your stress hormone. So cry it
Mhm.
all out. It's okay.
It takes a lot of energy to keep pent up tears inside.
I know.
Or any pent up emotion, to be honest.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay, so are we ready to do like maybe a couple rounds?
Yes.
Is everyone ready?
So I will be kind of incorporating everything here. So we will do the deep breathing, the statement, and the tapping. So I will say the statement out loud for listeners. You don't have to say it out loud if you don't want to, but I do find that when we're incorporating breathing and talking at the same time, it can be a bit challenging. So if you just repeat the phrase in your head, totally okay as well. And we're going to be repeating the phrase for each location, for the facial tapping. And the last note is, in terms of making the technique a little easier, is that I find it the best to take our inhale first, and then as we exhale, that's when we repeat the phrase, because it's a long enough phrase for you to exhale longer than your inhale. Okay? So I'm personally going to pick the emotion anxious. You can pick whatever you would like. I would love to know how you're feeling at the moment in the comments as well. And if you can rate it, as Erin has mentioned, like how you're feeling right now on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like, oh, I feel awesome, like I feel great and amazing. 1 being like, oh no, I just want to go back to bed. Definitely leave a comment. I would love to see the difference there, pre and post EFT.
Oh yes, Will. I love that. So even though I still have a headache the size of an elephant, I completely and fully love myself.
Yes.
That is
Yes,
real.
I love that. always fully love yourself. All right, so let's get started. I will say the mantras, and then we will continue with the tapping. Hopefully you can see my demonstration. I know IG cuts a little bit. Okay, so we're going to start with here, the pinky side of our hands. Okay, so inhale, and then even though I am feeling anxious, I love and accept myself. Top of the head, inhale. Even though I am feeling anxious, I love and accept myself. Inner brow. Even though I am feeling anxious, I love and accept myself. Temples. Even though I'm feeling anxious, I love and accept myself. Under the eyes. Even though I'm feeling anxious, I love and accept myself. Under the nose. Even though I'm feeling anxious, I love and accept myself. Chin. Even though I'm feeling anxious, I love and accept myself. Under the collarbone. Even though I'm feeling anxious, I love and accept myself. And under the arms or armpits. Even though I'm feeling anxious, I love and accept myself. That is one round of the EFT. I personally feel a lot calmer.
Wow. Same. I just felt like a collective shift.
Yeah.
In both of our energies. And maybe it's because everyone was doing it at the same time, that synergistic approach.
Yeah,
exactly. I love that. Oh my goodness. Do we want to do another one just for good measure?
Yeah, let's do it. Okay. So again, pick an emotion or feeling. Actually, before we do that, reflect on how you're feeling right now on a scale of 1 to 10 and see if there was any shift there. You can write it in the comments. I would love to see that. If not, still a good thing to reflect on how you're physically and mentally feeling as well. Okay?
I love it. And don't forget, everyone who has just joined before we do another round, this is an incredible EFT technique tapping seminar or masterclass, if you will. We are featuring the lovely Dr. Suki Hon, and she has a free guide, a totally like how-to demonstration guide. So if I don't already have your email address, just send me a personal DM for you to grab that guide for you. I'm going to send it out tomorrow along with the replay of this video. Love it.
Sweet. All right, let's try another round. I'm excited for this other round. Okay, again, sit comfortably. We're going to start with the pinky side of our hands, okay? Even though I feel anxious, I love and accept myself. Top of the head. Even though I'm feeling anxious, I love and accept myself. Inner eyebrows. Even though I'm feeling anxious, I love and accept myself. Temples. Even though I'm feeling anxious, I love and accept myself. Under the eyes. Even though I'm feeling anxious, I love and accept myself. Under the nose. Even though I'm feeling anxious, I love and accept myself. On the chin. Even though I'm feeling anxious, I love and accept myself.
Okay, everyone join in the last two.
Even though
I'm feeling anxious,
I love and accept
myself.
Under the armpits. Even though I'm feeling anxious, I love and accept myself.
Fresh.
Yes.
Wow.
So,
wow. Woo. Woo.
Yay.
Okay, out of 10, how are folks feeling right now? Drop a comment. I would love to know.
Yeah, I feel like
amazing.
Super calm.
Wow, Dr. Suki, thank you so much.
Yes, of course. Yeah, again, this is one of my favorite ways to relieve stress. So if you've had a busy day at work or just a hectic, bad luck of a run, definitely do this kind of like when you get home or just on the subway or whatnot. It will kind of like calm your system down a little bit. And then it's like a little turn in the evening, you know, feel better.
Thank you. I'm feeling like a 1 out of 10 on a stress scale right now.
Amazing.
If that.
Amazing. That is always good to hear. Yeah, so let us know in the comments how you feel. I would love to see what you all have to say. So I hope the workshop has been beneficial to all. Again, these techniques, so the breath work and the EFT, it's quite easy to incorporate, again, especially since it doesn't really require anything other than your lungs, your mind, and your fingertips. There really isn't an quote-unquote excuse to do so. So yeah, the next time you see an opportunity to be present or just need to press pause in your day, take a minute or 10 to practice these techniques, because your body and your mind will definitely thank you for the self-care and the time that you're putting in into feeling a little You're like so zen right now. I love it.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm like so zen. I gotta like psych myself up. Wow, that was amazing. I still, every time I do this, I can't believe the like immediate effects of how calm, how much more peaceful I am, how much more patient I am. Like even just doing an IG live, you know, there's not much stress to that. There was that, you know, a little bit. And so it's really nice to feel in real time how that is. And it's so nice to be with you all to do this and create that synergistic space where we can all kind of bounce our own Zen vibes off of each other. Yeah, Maddie, I feel the same. I feel really relaxed, so peaceful. That was amazing. Let's practice this at some point for sure. So thank you so much, Dr. Suki. That was incredible. I can't say that enough. Okay, so as I mentioned, I do want to kind of lead the people to you. I think naturopathic medicine is so much more than you know, a middle / upper class people's medicine, and in essence it's Mother Nature's medicine. You know, it's intuition medicine. It's honoring the feminine medicine. And so Dr. Suki Hon actually really strives every day, and I see this every day in her Instagram posts. It's like just how she is in real life. I love it how committed you are to making naturopathic care so accessible. So you are in Toronto. Can you let the listeners know how to get in touch with you, how to book an appointment maybe?
Yeah, so I actually recently joined a clinic in Ronces. So it's called the Herbal Clinic and Dispensary. And you can visit my website, which is sukihon.com, to book an appointment, to learn more about what I do, my fee schedules, what I offer. And like also just connect with me on Instagram. I reply to all my comments and messages. And if you want to learn more, definitely feel free to DM me. And then I would love to chat with you all.
Amazing. And like I said, Dr. Suki has actually created this amazing EFT handout for people, easily downloadable, totally free. So if you're not already on my mailing list, just send me a quick DM. I can just shoot that off to you tomorrow, along with the replay of this video, so you have full access to the repeat. You can just repeat it over and over and over again if you want. just tap all day long. That'd be great. I think I might do that tomorrow. Oh man, and she does actually, you didn't mention this, Dr. Suki, or at least I don't think you mentioned it, but you offer free 15-minute consultations. So feel free to reach out to Dr. Suki at any point, even if you have any questions about your healthcare or just don't know where to start. Naturopathic medicine is a great place to begin your journey.
Thank you.
So we have time for questions. I would love to hear the thoughts of folks out there listening. Yeah, and if I can just plug my book, I actually have a book on mindfulness if you guys are interested in learning more about just becoming more self-aware. It's called A Drink Called Mindfulness. How to go from hot mess to self-aware before 30. So that is on Amazon. It's been available since May. It's doing really well in the charts. So if you do purchase it and you love it, please go in there and write a review. That really helps me in the standings on Amazon. So Dr. Suki, I actually have one question while folks maybe think of some questions might have, things that you might make comments, anything at all. But I really see EFT as a way to, yes, of course, benefit from emotional and mental health, you know, kind of boost up that side of things and really reduce your stress. But are there any other ways that tapping actually helps the body physiologically?
Yeah, so our bodies are very complicated and super interconnected. So if you didn't know, like our stress response is basically linked to everything else, our digestion, our immune system, even our heart health. So by doing EFT and like breath work and kind of dealing with the mental wellness or the stress relieving aspects, you can benefit with your physiological symptoms. So for example, if you tend to get headaches while you're stressed, or if you can't sleep, or if you're experiencing things like constipation because of stress. Again, we want to address the root cause with naturopathic medicine, that like while we tap facially or do facial tapping or do breath work to kind of decrease that response, then it kind of indirectly benefits those symptoms that you may have for that. And also the importance of stress and say like heart health. When we're stressed, our bodies or our blood vessels actually constrict because we want to divert all our blood flow to our muscles to run away from this hypothetical lion. So when we decrease that stress response, we're able to relax those blood vessels a little bit more, which will be beneficial for heart health, especially things like blood pressure or like, like risk factors for a stroke and things like that. So although indirect, it is still beneficial for sure in that way.
Yeah, of course. We actually have another question as well. So is there a recommended number of rounds for tapping? That's a really great question. Thank you for asking that.
So personally for me, again, even as evident through IG Live, the 1 round was enough to bring that calmness into your body. So in terms of a recommended amount, I usually don't say like, okay, patient, do this at least 5 times, because that might not be doable for them. So it's whatever works for you. But if I was to give a number, I would say at least 3 to 4 times, just so you can really intentionally and purposefully do those actions, say those mantras and practice those deep breathing methods. That kind of gives you a sufficient amount of time to do that.
Yeah, that's really good. I've seen it been recommended, 10 rounds, 20 rounds. It's I think the essence of the way that Dr. Suki practices is that she's not trying to instill guilt in anyone. So if you can't do 20 rounds of tapping per day, you're gonna go to hell. No, that's not that's not it. So just do what you can, and you'll find that you actually are able to trust your intuition a lot more, and just feel how it feels maybe after 1 round versus if you have time to do 8 or 9 or 10 rounds, and then see the difference. And then maybe that is enough to just keep your self-awareness enough to say, oh, okay, maybe I only have time for 5 rounds a day, that, and it will be just as good as if I had done maybe 10 or 20 rounds.
And kind of to that point is, like having that intention behind these techniques. So if I was to recommend 20 rounds, you're going to want to like do it as quickly as possible. And just like, okay, like I'm doing these actions, I'm like, but not actually feeling its effects, because we're so caught up on finishing the task as opposed to being present. So I think that's the difference, is having that intention and consciousness behind the techniques that you're doing.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Dr. Suki. Is there any other questions that the folks out there listening had? Of course, we will send out this replay again tomorrow. Send me a DM with your email in it if you want the replay, and if you do want that EFT guide. We'll wait maybe another second, or I don't know, a couple minutes to see if anyone else has generated any questions, or even just comments, or like, what you want to hear next. I'm sure Dr. Suki and I can do another 100 master classes on everything that we've learned in life and in school. And so if anyone has any, just like any kind of interest that they want kind of hashed out more, we're so happy to do that. Awkward silences are not awkward. Oh, that's great. It looks like nobody has any questions. Would love to hear your thoughts, folks, if you go home and think about it a little bit more, or maybe leave the room that you're in and think about it more because I know you're all home. And just yeah, if it comes up, feel free to reach out to Dr. Suki on either Instagram or through her clinic, the Herbal Dispensary, right here in Toronto. And yeah, I really, really appreciate you taking the time, Dr. Suki, to come on here and teach one of your beautiful, beautiful methods that can really take stress levels lower. Yeah, I really appreciate it. And do you have any final words?
No, but just a reminder that it is okay to take a pause. So definitely give yourself permission to do that. No one is going to judge you for it.
Amazing. Yes, permission to pause granted.
Yes, I approve.
Thanks everyone for tuning in. I will be coming at you with a lot more of these lives. So yeah, like I said, if you have any interest, just shoot me a message on either Instagram or email wellnessqueen@gmail.com, and I would be happy to answer more questions.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Have a lovely evening. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in.